Design Ranking Mini Compilation. Showa Gigan. Hailing from the M Space Hunter Nebula, Gigan is one of Godzilla's most iconic foes. After all, it's not every day you see a giant cyborg space chicken with a buzzsaw installed on a potbelly chest with elongated sickles for hands. Even his toes are just scythes. He's also got a slick Cyclops-styled visor that sadly can't fire lasers, although he has a weird aperture above it that can, but he never uses it on screen, only being depicted in promotional material. His head is covered in curved spines, and his mouth consists of a lethally sharp beak with mandibles that can rip and tear anything that dares come near his maw. On his back are a set of wings that enable him to mercilessly chase his victims down, or easily flee battle like a total coward. While Gigan may run when things get dicey, he's vicious in combat and is one of a small number of kaiju to make the big G actually bleed. He's also given Anguirus and Jet Jaguar quite the beatdowns. Gigan's a bizarre monster and a little goofy looking, but I can't help but love the guy. Final Wars. In Godzilla Final Wars, this Gigan's introduced in a mummified form after having his butt kicked by Mothra in ancient times. He's revived by the Zillions, and damn, he's clearly hit the gym because the green and yellow potbelly chicken of old has been transformed into a lean, leather-infused stainless steel badass. Not to mention the red wing membranes in combination with his new dark blue coloring is simply gorgeous. He's got some new bells and whistles too. For one, he can actually fire lasers from his visor this time, and cooler yet, his beams scatter out into several smaller lasers in an attack known as the Scattered Light Beam Gigarium Cluster. Attached to his hand sickles are grappling hooks that Gigan uses to ensnare Godzilla in order to pull him towards his buzzsaw, hoping to make him bleed like he did in 72. However, this backfires since it gives the Big G a clear shot at the Zillion's premier cyborg, but that's fine because this heavy metal kaiju still got some fight left in him. Modified Gigan. After having his head blown off, Gigan returns with some serious modifications given to him by the Zillions in an effort to help out Monster X, who's currently locked in a fierce battle with Godzilla. Since Monster X is basically Ghidorah, this team-up is a nice throwback to Gigan's partnership with him in the 72 film. He's been fitted with a brand new head, which features larger mandibles and an elongated head horn, both of which also are covered in spikes for good measure. Gigan also traded out his doll size for twin rotating chainsaws. Unfortunately, Mothra shows up to put him back in his place. They have an epic aerial battle, and Gigan uses his new prong tail spike to whip around the enormous Lepidoptera, but she doesn't go down easily, forcing Gigan to send out two bladed slicers from his neck. They miss, but they distract the Divine Moth long enough for him to land his Gigarium Cluster laser, setting her ablaze. However, while he's showing off, the bladed slicers come back around, slicing his head off. I absolutely adore the two versions of Final Wars Gigan, so it's a crime that he went down as fast as he did in both fights. Gigan Miles. Created for the Gemstone Godzilla short film, Godzilla vs. Gigan Rex, Gigan Miles is a design that takes some notes from Showa's iteration. We're back to a golden yellow potbelly chest and simplified sickle arms, with his tail ending in a lethal spike. The green from before has become a turquoise, and his wings and saw blade now take on a red coloration. This Gigan is very streamlined in design, with his upper half resembling plastic. His head features all slide in with each other snugly to the point where his mandibles barely stick out from his head. On the contrary, his toe claws extend out from his stubby feet, and I'm not too keen on it. He retains the aperture above his head, except it can actually fire lasers this time. It only took 50 years. This Gigan can also retract its yellow skin, revealing the complex glowing buzzsaw hidden underneath. Oh, and by the way, this Gigan ain't alone. There's a whole army of these guys. Even so, I'm not huge on the look because it fails to capture the same goofy charm the original had, replacing it with stiff awkwardness. However, these Gigan Miles have a master, and that design hits a hell of a lot harder. Gigan Rex. Dropping down from the heavens comes Gigan Rex. Taking on a sinister red coloration, this Gigan is packed with plenty of new abilities that catch the Big G off guard. For one, his claw arms are now able to extend outward into chainsaw whips powerful enough to slice buildings in half like butter. Equally terrifying is the eye that now resides in his chest, and you bet that thing can fire a laser as well. While this kit is imposing, it's not enough to stop the king, who sends the cyborg barreling into what's left of the city. However, Gigan Rex has one last surprise. Telekinesis! Using signals from his aperture, he's able to transmit signals to the Gigan Miles to have them ambush Godzilla with him. He's also what allows them to extend their saws, making up for the fact that Rex himself doesn't have one. Even when his army is bested, Gigan Rex extracts their buzzsaw cores and lines them up in a circular formation with his whips to fire the Rex Plasma. Rex still retains the streamlined design of his understudies, but his wealth of new abilities and badass color scheme are enough to make this design a massive step up. Gigan, Fest Godzilla 3. Say hello to Fest Godzilla 3 Gigan Attacks, a fan film featuring a full recreation of the Showa-era Gigan suit to celebrate the kaiju's 50th anniversary. However, there are a number of differences between the two. For one, this new Gigan is much chunkier, sporting an even bigger potbelly than before. Personally though, I feel like this makes him more menacing as he looks like a tank compared to Final Wars Goji. It also means his buzzsaw sticks out more, which proves to be an offensive advantage when he absolutely shreds the Big G's chest with it, making him bleed just like he did in the original 72 film. Additionally, Showa Gigan finally uses his aperture laser on screen, and it's simply beautiful. In the film, Gigan acts way less goofy than he used to, being much more cold and calculated in his actions. He feels like a monster version of the Terminator, and it's badass. But he still panics when his aperture gets busted, showing us that he's still a bit of a dork. This update on the classic design is phenomenal, and the film itself is a testament to how the art of tokusatsu will never lose its luster. It's rare for a kaiju to have this fantastic of a design track record, and while Gigan Miles was certainly a misstep, his other 5 looks more than make up for it. Whether it be the unique and fantastical whip-wielding Gigan Rex, the classic yellow potbelly cyborg chicken of old, or the badass, edgy Final Wars iterations, every design has its own merits. If I had to pick an absolute favorite from this collection, I would have to go with Gigan's initial Final Wars appearance. Personally, I think the sickle claws look more imposing than the chainsaws of his third act upgrade, along with the neck piece meshing better with the rest of his body. Let me know how you'd rate each Gigan in the comments below, and I hope you enjoyed this little compilation. Subscribe if you want, and I'll see you guys in whatever video I end up making next. But until then, have a wonderful day.